ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bench. I am your host, Rocco Granado from InlandCrossFitTrust.com, and with me for another week, while Gary Grube is sunning it up down in the Philippines from LaxPhilly.com, is Kevin Neibauer. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Rocco. How about yourself? Is that theme song indicative that Billy Wagner may be joining us tonight?
Yeah, one can only hope on that one, right?
We get. That would have been an interesting lacrosse conversation with Billy Wagner. But anyway, again, thank you again for having me here tonight. And I think I can speak for both of us and say we hate you, Gary. It's only 84 degrees and you're in the pool all day. So well, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, well, right now for Gary, it's 9:48 in the morning on Friday for him right now. So
he's probably waking up with a little bit of a headache from 9:40 p.m. on Thursday night.
Yeah, but I mean, I talked to him last week, and we were talking about about the games and how weird it is for him to watch a game at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and it's just the way it worked out, and we just carry around. And he wound up actually, he was having a problem with his TV feed out there.
Yeah.
And the only game he could get, I feel bad for Gary, the only game Gary could get was the Toronto game. And he actually went up covering the game for us, from 3,000 miles away or 9,000, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that's Gary. Come on, man, you're on vacation. We got this. You and I, same way.
Well, we got 6 games to go through tonight and 4 to preview, and let's just say that the selections that me and Gary made, we took a big hit on it. Just some of the results.
We are on our LaxPhilly. It wasn't pretty.
No. Yeah. Out of the 6 games, Gary and I, we both end up picking the same thing. And if you remember what I said at the end of the show last week, I said that Rochester was going to lose both games, but something was telling me in the back of my head that they're going to find a way to win on Sunday, and they did. And we'll get all into that.
And I vividly remember that, and I'm thinking, you know what? It's really hard to argue with them because the way the season's going, and George is like, I think that's Rochester. What we got? What do we care? And I thought, just sheer numbers. But George is going to win it, but don't be surprised. But
no,
honestly, who thought it was going to end like that?
No. Well, let's start with the first game we had, which was last Friday, Buffalo at New England. I thought New England, being at home, would be able to do something here. The first half was, kind of even, but in the second half, they extended it by another goal and then another 2 in the fourth. The game was fairly even. It was up and back. Both teams were fighting tooth and nail throughout the whole entire thing. Both power plays were deadly. Buffalo was 4 for 6. New England was 2 for 3. And New England even capitalized by also getting 2 shorthanded goals as well. The shots were fairly even, and the faceoffs were even. What the game came down to was the last 6.5 minutes when New England got within 14-13. Buffalo just put in the last four goals, and they're doing this without Mark Steenhouse, and they just traded Pat Saunders. So they're really starting to make a statement right now. They're sitting at 6-3, and they're on top of the Eastern Division.
And the impressive thing, and I'm going to get back on this on the next Buffalo game. If you look up and down, you say, well, they put 18 up against New England. So off the top of your head, Dane Smith must have had 9, and this guy had 5. And I think it's going to be spread out. But the surprising thing, and this is the impressive thing to me, Rocco, is 10 different goal scorers.
Yes.
And if you can prove that, wait a minute, we can't just stop Dane Smith because he's going to get his 3 or 4. And Josh, the rookie,
Josh Byrne.
Again, who had
Byrne,
goals in that game. Yeah.
Oh, he was just unbelievable.
Yeah, he's coming into his own. And I'm thinking, all right, well, Buffalo, it's one of those fluke games. You kind of beat New England down a little bit. Let's see what happens. But it was an impressive win nonetheless. Anytime you're getting 10 goals, 10 different goal scorers, that's, you got to be happy as a coach. Like we're doing, and I think, and I did read something, you probably read the same thing, that Corden is saying, we've been beating it all year. Stick with the game plan. It's going to work. Stick. And they're sticking with it, and it is starting to pay dividends. I mean, that's just, to me, that was an impressive win right there. It remains to be seen. Was it just one of those games where New England just wasn't ready and Buffalo was?
Yeah,
or is this what's going to go on the rest of the year?
No, what I think, first of all, Josh Byrne has a nasty first step to the net.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he takes that first step, and the defender bites on it. You try not to, but it's hard not to bite on that first step. And once he takes that first step by you, forget it. And he goes airborne. I mean, he had a slam dunk behind Aaron Bold. It looked like he was hung up in the air for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's Jordan-esque, the hang time he gets.
Yeah.
And to make that more impressive is most of the guys who do that, and they're committed to where they're going to go. They're going to go high, they're going. You can just see, and he's in the air, and where's he going? It's just like he doesn't know.
He don't know, no.
Throws that ball in. No one can react that fast. I think it's just the way he's played his game his whole life. I'm going in there. I'm going to throw it and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about how they had 10 different scorers, okay? You're looking at Dane Smith with 4 goals and 1 assist. Kalen Crawford, 2 and 3. Craig England, 2 and 1. Vaughn Harris with 2 goals. Josh Byrne, a hat trick and 2 assists. And then you got Kevin Brownell, new addition Thomas Hogarth, Mitch Jones, a goal and 6 assists. Patton with a goal, Jordan Durston, a goal and 6 assists, and the other guys I mentioned, Brownell, Hogarth, all with a goal. It's well balanced throughout. And what I said last week, the problem with New England is they don't have enough depth. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you want to argue it, they do not have enough depth. Now, I'll be the first one to say, look, I love Kevin Crowley as a player and a person. He's a great player out there, but he needs help. He had 4 goals. Sean Evans had 5. They had 9 of the team's 13 goals. Your other 4, Riley O'Connor with 1, Kevin Buchanan with 1, Stefan LeBlanc with 1, and Kyle Buchanan with 1. Now, LeBlanc had 6 assists, okay? He needs to turn some of those assists into goals. The Buchanans, I mentioned this I don't know how many times. They need to be more consistent. They need to put in more than just 1 goal a game. You can't go relying on Evans and Crowley to score over 60% of your team's goals every week. You're not going to win games that way. It's not going to happen.
I agree. And the thing with Crowley, as much as we've seen him his whole career, and like you said, great guy, great player, but he's not your lead. He's not a guy I look at as my leading scorer. He's a great second guy, but if he's got to carry the team, you got to have some other people behind him. And Sean Evans is that, but then that's it. You basically defensively let them 2 get their 12 goals, and then we'll get 13 and win.
Yeah,
excuse me, I'm moving down. I get the grandson screaming for some reason here. Okay. But echoing your thoughts, New England is just a little too shallow. Actually, you have more from the 3-headed monster in Vancouver than you do in New England with the 2-headed monster.
Yeah, I mean, when you just have those 2 scoring, like I said, 9 out of 13. Okay, that's about 60-something%, 65%, somewhere in that area. You need to get contributions from other areas. They got LeBlanc for help on that left side. He's got to start putting the ball in the net. It's great that he's getting those assists. A 7-point night is nothing to shake your head about. But you need to get some more goal output there. Okay, you got LeBlanc who has the skill for that. You got Kevin Buchanan who can also do that, and Kyle Buchanan as well. Those three guys all got one goal apiece. There's no further depth as far as snipers, okay? If they were to stop Crowley or Evans, who's going to put the goals in the net?
And if those three guys got one more goal each, which isn't asking a whole lot,
right,
they win that game.
Yeah, very much so.
Again, one of these things, we discussed a couple players and a couple teams last week, is what's going on? We can see there's an issue, but why is there an issue?
Right.
Goal scorers score goals. That's what they do. And it's just, I don't get it either. I agree with you. You've got to get more production to that whole lineup, especially in a league when half of the teams are mediocre at best on defense, but they're going to score a lot. A team like Buffalo, okay, and we mentioned this last week, they can't score goals, but they can stop. Now all of a sudden, wait a minute, they're scoring goals.
Right.
They adjusted. How come New England didn't?
Right, and that's something that they have to do. I mean, you're going to get your 4 or 5 goals from Crowley and Evans. That's a definite. Now these other guys have to put the ball in the net. They have to. I mean, when you look at the Buffalo roster, Dane Smith is going to get his 4. Callum Crawford's always good for 2 to 3 goals easily. Josh Byrne, hey, hat trick. So right there you're looking at 9 goals just on those 3 guys minimum on those 3. So it's something that New England's got to look at. Like I said, in this game it was about a game of runs. The game was going up and back. Buffalo was up by 3-4 goals. New England comes back, and it went all the way down to the very last 6 minutes when Buffalo just went on that 4-goal run, including a power play and an empty net goal. So it's game of runs, and unfortunately, you can go with a 9-goal run in the first period. It's who gets that last run. Generally, is the one who wins. You give a 4-goal run in your own building at the end of the game, you're not going to win. No.
I don't care if power play or empty net or somebody threw one in from the next city. New England has to tighten down in games like this. I don't know what the issue is. Did Buffalo throw different wrinkles at them than they're used to? Did they coach? I don't know that, and I don't know if you know that. But that's a game that I think New England probably gave away. I think they probably should have won that game, but they just
they should have.
If I can double Crowley and double Sean Evans, who's going to score? You're going to have 3 guys open, but they're not scoring.
Yeah. Well,
what's the difference?
And they should have, because if you look at the sheet, at one point of the game, with about 6 minutes gone into the second quarter, from that point up until the 3:10 mark of the third quarter, New England scored 8 out of the last 9 goals. And, they went from being down 7-3 to being up 10-8.
Mm-hmm.
They just came out of nowhere and started scoring, and then Buffalo went on their little 4-goal run, take a 13-10 lead, and New England scored 3 of the next 4 to kind of bring it within 14-13, but they just couldn't get over that hill. They went down by 3 going into the into the fourth quarter, and they start chipping away, but then Buffalo comes back, and it just.
And that's always been one of the things of many that I love about the National lacrosse league and boxing in general. Your team can go on a 4, 5, 6, 7 goal run in 3 minutes and go 20 minutes without a goal. How? Why? Nobody has the answer. You're throwing them and they're going in, and all of a sudden the goalie becomes a wall. It's just, it's like almost every game. And this is an example of that. New England, like you said, New England will run a huge run, and then boom, they stop.
Yeah.
And it's not like the effort's not there. It's just the ball's not going in.
No.
It's just that's one of the things I love about the game, because a lot of it you can't explain. Look, this is what's going on. And we've been following this game a lot of years, and we both scratch our head and stuff like that. Wait a minute, you were down by 4, and now you're up by 3, but now you're down again.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this game, and that's got to be a frustration level for Glenn Clark. Like, we were up, we went on this nice run, and then what happened?
Yeah. Well, they fall 18-13. It dropped New England down to third place, sitting at 4-3 in a game out of first. Now we go to Saturday night, and Buffalo was playing again. This time they were facing Georgia, last year's Champions Cup title holders. Georgia was in Buffalo, sitting back, relaxing, watching the game. We figured Georgia's going to come out with a little spark. That really wasn't the case. The first quarter, it was 4-2. The game was tied at 1, and Buffalo scored their 3. Georgia got 1 to end the quarter. But after that, I don't know if somebody forgot to tell Georgia that, look, you got to play 2 quarters before you go back into the locker room. Because that second quarter, Buffalo outscored them 7-2. And they went up 11-4 at the half, basically ending the game right there. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And then, you're up by 7. The only thing you're worried about doing is just matching them goal for goal. Don't let them go on any type of run. And that's basically what they did. Both teams scored 3 times in the third. Buffalo scored 4 in the fourth to Georgia's 2. 18-9 was the final in this game. They put up 36 goals in 2 games, Buffalo. And on this night, they had 11 different players, as we like to say, tickle the twine. Okay?
Yep.
On this night, Kalen Crawford had the hat trick and 3 assists. Dane Smith had 2 and 2. Jordan Durston 2 and 5. Josh Byrne, another hat trick, but this time he added 3 assists. So he had an 11-point weekend. The rookie. I mean, he's like you said, he's coming into his own, and he's starting to basically run away with the Rookie of the Year right now with the way he's playing. Thomas Hogarth, again, with another goal. Nick Weiss, a goal and 2 assists. Steve Priolo with an assist there. Vaughn Harris, a goal and an assist. Frazier, a goal and an assist. So it's balanced all the way through. For Georgia...
And that's scary. If you look at Team Buffalo, if going into this weekend, there is no way any lacrosse expert is going to say, you know what, that Buffalo team, they're going to put up 36 goals by 21 different goal scorers.
Right.
And you're looking like, what are you smoking? Give me some of that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You had Bouquet on Friday night, and they turned around and they put Zach Higgins in the next night. Now, what they're going to have to worry about is when David DeRuccio comes back off the injury reserve list, what are they going to do? Higgins is really starting to come into his own again. You're going to have DeRuccio coming off injured reserve. He was supposed to be the heir apparent in a couple years to Cosmo. And they picked up Bouquet, and now, they signed Higgins when DeRuccio went down, and
Higgins has been
lights out.
Even some of the Georgia players commented after the game, because he played with
them, yeah,
last year, and he's Canadian leagues, and he even said, "I've never seen Higgy play that good."
Yeah.
And we said this last week. Every week it seems like a goalie comes out of nowhere and absolutely steals the show.
Steals the show,
but
right?
I don't think this is a 1 week thing with Higgins. I think he just needs to play, and he's been playing well.
Yeah, and
he's been in there. And like you said, that's going to be a tough decision when Ruscio comes back. So do we just leave him on the IR for a while?
Yeah.
Wait till Higgins gets cold? Or, what do you do?
What do you do? Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's a tough roster spot. You still got 2 guys on practice squad who are looking to get in, but they're not goaltenders. You got Billy O'Brien and Zach Haywire. So, Buffalo, who went from being really, really short because of injuries, are now looking at it on the other end. We got too many people.
Yeah, and they're doing all this while Steenhouse is still on IR as well. I mean, granted, he's not the goal scorer he was when he first came into the league, but when he comes back into the lineup, you got to respect his game. I mean, that it's going to add another dimension out there.
Exactly. It's another guy you have to keep an eye on. You used to call him, who was the coach? I think it was Lindsay Sanders. He's a 100 guy. 100% of the time, you got to know where he's at 100% of the time.
Yeah.
One of those guys. Because I just familiar with that quote, and I used to laugh when I heard that. I thought, you know what? That's perfect sense. You turn your back on a guy, that ball's in the net.
Yeah.
No matter how old he is and how beat up he is, he still can do it.
Yeah, it's either that or...
Games, but they're going to be the game tire and the game winner.
Yeah, it's either he's putting the ball in the net or he's feeding somebody to put it into the net.
Yes.
Now you look at Georgia's stats. Randy Stotts had 2 goals. Kyle Matisse, just a goal. Shane Jackson held off for goals, but he had 3 assists. Jesse King, 2 goals. Alex Krepnicek with a goal. And now, here's the thing. Okay? The Thompsons combined for 3 goals. Everybody talks about the Thompsons are the next big thing in lacrosse. Okay? What I have to say, I know a lot of people are not going to like. Okay? And it's for the younger generation. These guys cannot hold a candle to Paul and Gary Gate. Okay? Paul and Gary Gate were consistently 4 or 5 goals each a night without even blinking an eye. Okay?
Yeah, I agree. You had those guys, Detroit, Philly, whatever team those 2 were on together.
Yeah.
You got to score a minimum of 10 goals to win.
Easily.
Because they're getting 9 between them.
Right, and it just seems like...
Check and Denikin and the other guys.
Yeah.
But the Thompsons, that's one of the things we wrote about is, what happened to the dominance that they had last year? Now you're getting a point from one, 2 from the other.
I mean, Lyle Thompson will... I mean, he was held in check. Okay, he had 15 shots. He took 15 shots on goal. Okay? Miles only had 5 shots. And 1 went in the net. Now, Lyle is always good for 3-4 goals. Okay? He's been consistent that way. They held him in check. But Miles isn't quite there for some reason.
I think Miles has shown the biggest drop back in the league since last year than anybody in the league.
Yeah.
I thought the year they had last, I thought, oh man, this guy, he's going to put up 70, 80 goals. He may break the record. And him and Lyle, but it's not going to happen. I kind of always thought that Miles was a little bit better. I think Lyle was the finisher, but I mean, again, what happened to them? When then you get the room getting more goals than those 2, there's something wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Matisse is always good for a hat trick here and there, and he was held to, just 1 goal and 4 shots. I mean, Shane Jackson without a goal. I mean, that's
to me that's the most telling stat of them all. You held him down because
even Johnny Pallas.
Basically, he's been the man all year.
Well, even Johnny Pallas, he didn't have a goal or an assist.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffalo held them in check. I mean, they pulled Poulin out at one point. And we saw Warren Hill get some action. He played almost 17 minutes altogether. He came out and then back in again. Unfortunately, he got saddled with the loss there because when he came in when they hit that 9-goal mark. So he gave up
basically more than he gave up. They called the game winner, I guess. He gave up the 10th goal or whatever.
The 10th goal, yeah. So, but Georgia's got to somehow turn it around because as we go further into the other games we're going to recap, right now Georgia's sitting at 3-5. So, they're on the downside here, and that's not good.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the shots on goal were even. Face-offs, Georgia won 18 to Buffalo's 13. Georgia went 2 for 4 in the power play, and Buffalo was 0 for 3, but Buffalo got a shorthanded goal. But that didn't factor in here, okay? Buffalo had 1 shorthanded goal, and the other 17 were at even strength. That's scary. So, I mean, Buffalo is, on a roll right now. They're, running hot, and they're sitting up 6-3. They're 3-1 at home, 3-2 on the road, and they're in first place in the East. Now, the next game that we had was Toronto at Rochester. This game was a lot closer than I thought it would be, in all honesty. Both teams, the power plays were, clicking. And Toronto just did what they had to do in the second half, because the first half was up and back. It was even. You had a 5-5 game at the end of the first half with both goalies standing on their head. Nick Rose and Matt Vince just making some unbelievable saves in this game.
Yeah, he's picked this game up. He struggled a little bit when they got smoked. The whole team struggled when they got smoked a couple of weeks ago. It's really hard to point a finger at one guy when he can beat that bad. But he hasn't been as dominant as he was last year, and maybe that's just a hiccup. Apparently, it is. That kid's just too good to not get better every game, and we're right back in stride on this game.
Yeah.
Rochester, as bad as the record was and the funk they were in, you gave up 9 goals to them. You're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Because they are explosive, and we'll get to that later. They kind of showed it, but they whatever happened, they stopped scoring goals and started giving up goals. Because if you remember the first 2 weeks, that was the meanest and toughest and best defense in the league. I mean, they were just physically wearing you down, and it just went away. Yeah, well, and they were scoring a lot of goals. Yeah. And whatever happened in that 6-game run, it completely went the other way.
And the thing that killed them here was the power plays. I mean, Toronto went 4 for 5 on the power play. Some of the penalties that they took, check from behind, and then there was a slash they took, holding, illegal cross check. I'm trying, it just the lack of trying to kill a power play is what really. I mean, they went 2 for 3 themselves on the power play. So they went 66%. Toronto went 80%. Both teams have to, kill the power plays, but you let a team go 4 for 5 and you lose the game by 3. And this is another situation where you look at the score sheet. Joe Resetaris, 4 goals. Graham Hossack, Brad Gillies, Dylan Evans, Josh Courier, Cody Jamieson, all with 1 goal. Dan Dawson only had 1 assist, and he only had 1 shot on net. Now, I believe he may have gotten hurt in that game because he did not play on Sunday.
No, I was going to bring that up on Sunday. He didn't play, and I could not find a reason why.
Yeah, I mean, for him to only have one shot on net, I think something happened. I was watching the Buffalo game, the Buffalo-Georgia game. So I had to do that recap. And I really didn't get a chance to see what happened to Dan. So it's possible. I don't know. Something, might happen, or they just shut him down. But this is another case. Cody Jameson's coming off that injury, and he's getting a goal here, a goal there. Kyle Jackson didn't have a goal. He's usually good for 2 to 3 goals a game. Luke Magnan, Austin Shanks just had 2 assists. So something has to start clicking there if Rochester wants to be playing in the postseason. For Toronto, it was almost basically the same thing, but it's more spread out. Brock Sorensen had a goal, McCardle with a goal, Rob Hellier had 2, Brett Hickey had 1, Adam Jones had 1, Craig with 2, Brody Merrill with a goal, Billy Hostrasser, Harris, and Reinhold all with a goal. But they have a little bit more depth on their score sheet than Rochester has right now. Or should I say a little more consistency on the scoring depth. So, both teams played well. The goalies played, phenomenal. I mean, because, it could have gone either way. Toronto could have put up maybe 20 if Matt Vince didn't make some of them saves. And Rochester could have came out and they could have won this game, say 15-12, or even maybe more if Nick Rose didn't make some of those saves that he did. So the goaltenders really played phenomenal in this game, because the last 2 goals by Toronto were empty net goals. So
which that puts you to a 1-goal game. But again, right. That's the beauty of this. You get a hot goaltender, and you and I know this for years and years in Philly. Dallas felt like he would do 8 goals in the first period, and you finish the game with 10. And that's the same thing that's going on with these guys. It's inadequate, I guess is a good word, as some of the goaltending has been. Yeah. Vince has been, even with the 6-game losing streak, he's been okay. He hasn't hurt them.
No.
It's not been his fault. And Nick Rose, he had issues a little bit earlier on, but he's one of the quality guys in the league. And, you look at the teams with the winning records and you say, why? Well, that's why. Because your defense makes a mistake. You want your goalie to make that first save. He makes that first save, and it's on you to get it. And that's what they're doing. Nick Rose stepped it up, and Vince, that was a classic goaltending battle. I mean, that was, if you're a goalie fan, that was the game for you. These guys, you made that save, let me see this one. Let me see this one. And, that's the stuff I like to watch. I just love the defensive end of the game.
Yeah, and we'll see how much Rochester has turned the corner when we get into the Sunday game, the recap there. But the next game that we have was really a big shock. And I said last week that Colorado needs to win this game. Otherwise, they're going to be fighting to stay in second place. They went to the Saddle Dome.
They almost have to win out. And
forget first place.
It's tough now. It's real tough.
I'm saying it now. Forget first place.
Yes.
Okay.
What is it now, Rocco? I think it's a 4-game advantage counting
it's a 3-game lead.
The hand and whatnot, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-game lead plus the tie break. But Kevin, you know what? Right. Before I even get into this, I wanted to do this in the beginning of the show, and I didn't do this, and I really wanted to. Yesterday, I'm sure everybody heard all over the news down in Florida, the incident that happened, another school shooting where over 17 people were killed by a 19-year-old former student. I heard it all on the sports talk radio stations, here today, and they were bringing it up. We all look at sports players as our heroes that we look up to. There were a couple teachers, and one was a former student that was an assistant football coach that put themselves in the line of fire to protect other students from being shot. Unfortunately, they both passed away. The assistant football coach passed away early this morning. So our condolences go out to the people down there in Florida, in the school, in that community that are going through this right now from this senseless act. And you go on for hours talking about gun control and NRA and everything else, but you just got to sit there and wonder, how did a 19-year-old get his hands on a weapon of that nature? So it's
my heart bleeds for everybody there, and for me, this is a personal opinion away. It's bad, but I've been asked by people, "What do you think about gun rights?" Well, it didn't matter. I could have had an arsenal in my pocket. I didn't see the guy coming.
Right.
Bad guys will get the guns. They're going to use them. It's just the fact of the evil that's in the society. It's just my heart breaks for the family and these children and the gentleman who jumped in front. There's a question you ask yourself. Would you do that? You were military, so I'm not saying that there's a difference, but some people would do it, some won't. Me? I don't know. After what I went through, I don't know if I would do that again, but my heart's off. My hat is off. My heart is out to the members of the military and the policemen who deal with that every day. I don't know how you guys did it and how they do it now. I would just, constantly with your head on a swivel. And these poor kids, what do they know? They're playing Pokemon on their computer games and stuff.
Right.
And then you get some kid comes in who I don't even know what motivated them. Because maybe someone called them a kid or something. But mental illness to me would drive something like that. And you and I would never think of doing that.
Yeah, you talked about. I'm gonna try to wrap it up real quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you talked about would we do that? Would we jump in front? Would we this? Would we that? You don't know until that happens. Okay, you can't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I would," or "No, I would." You don't know. Okay, until that happens. Myself, being in the military for 12 years, from 83 to 95, I didn't have to go over and fight in a war. Thank God. If I had to, hey, I had to. But, we did have to play our war games, okay, where we wore the vest that would beep if you would get, fired upon, go off to show that you were, killed or whatever. And even then, you have to have your head on a swivel, when you're doing that, because, if that goes off, you're dead. Which means that you weren't, that, you got to now go through your mind that, okay, we did this war game. Did I do everything I was supposed to? Or where did I fail at that caused me to, and I put in quotes, die in this game? So you really have to, you look at it, whether or not you jump out in front. Hey, you don't know until you're actually put into that situation.
I'm just going to add that again. My hat's off to you and all the military. I never served. And, it didn't work out in my life. My whole family served. And, it's just, again, that's, we put things in sports perspective. That's the game you don't want to lose.
Yeah.
You lose that when you're not playing tomorrow.
Yeah.
And,
You don't know until it happens.
You don't know what you're going to do in that situation.
No, because I mean, I had a situation when I was younger. Okay, when I got out of the Army at one point from my training, and I was down at Penn's Landing for one of their music festivals, and somebody tried to lift my wallet out of my back pocket. Okay, and I didn't even think twice about whether or not if he had a knife or a gun. I basically stepped back, put my one leg in between hooked his arm, and just in one quick motion, snapped it. I just wrapped my right arm around his forearm, and with my left hand, just pushed. And I broke his arm. I mean,
again, that's a training.
I wasn't thinking.
Again,
yeah.
You don't know how to react. I had a situation where I had a gun to my head. The guy saw me eat money out of the Mac machine, and he wants to steal the money. And the thought crossed my mind: I'm going to hit this guy. I'm going to knock him out. But then I'm looking at my wife, and I see my daughter in front of me, and I said, if I do this, it's got to count because he's got a gun.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's real, if it's fake, if it's loaded or it's not. But if I do this punch, I got to take him down.
Yeah.
And by the grace of God, I didn't do it because he had a buddy behind me. Had I done it, we wouldn't be having this talk. So
yeah.
Sometimes, like you said, discretion's a better part of value. If I didn't see my wife and daughter there, I'm a young, tough guy. Yeah, I'll take you on. And I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So, thank the Lord for your training. You were able to take care of your situation, and I hope that this situation in Texas gets resolved. This is just, this happens way too much.
Yeah, down in Florida, it's just unreal.
And, I've heard people say, well, you want to stop mass shootings, arm everybody. It doesn't work that way. That's just an ignorant statement. You can't. But so anyway, I'm going to hand it back to you. I guess we can move on. I think our sentiments have been developed here.
I don't want to
go on and on. I'm sorry
too long,
going on and on, but this is a sore subject with me.
Yeah, and we just have to, pray that everybody, can, overcome what has happened. Now we'll try to turn it back onto a good, positive thing.
Yeah, because the last thing I'm going to tell her is, once the incident happens, it's not over.
No.
Because it's in your head for the rest of your life. I deal with this every day. And you know what? We stay positive, and thank God I got lacrosse, and I got Phillies, and we got Eagles, and, more importantly, I got my grandkids. So,
that's right.
You got to be positive and stuff like this. So, being positive, let's pick it back up.
Let's pick it back up, right. Now, everything was positive here for Calgary. They came out, and, they did. Consistent. I mean, 1-1 at the end of one, and Calgary just stayed consistent in the second and third quarter. They go up 5-3, and then all of a sudden it's 9-4 going into the final quarter. And, Gary and I spoke about this a million times. You have a 5-goal lead going into that final quarter. That's telling you your opponent has to outscore you 5-0 just to earn a tie. Just to earn a tie, they have to go 5-0. And Calgary didn't allow that. Every time Colorado tried to put a run together, Calgary was right there. And the big thing here is, again, Colorado was without Zach Greer. Ryan Benesh had 0 goals. You had Rouet had 3, Keogh with 2, Noble with 2, and Eli McLaughlin with 2. They were your goal scorers right there. Okay? They held Benesh to nothing. You don't have Zach Greer in the lineup. I don't know if he's still battling an injury or what's going on there. But it's actually hurting them without him in the lineup. And even when he's in the lineup, things aren't going right. For Calgary, looks like Curtis Dixon and Dane Dobie have come back to life because Dixon had 3 and 2 and Dobie had 4 and 3. So that's they're typical there. Zach Currier had 2 goals. Holden Katoni, 2 goals for him. Wes Berg had a goal and 3 assists. So so they had it balanced. All their players that were supposed to score their 1 or 2 goals did that. And that's what some of these other teams need. And this is what Calgary need. And what stood out for me here is Christian Del Bianco, 19-year-old, is starting to come into his own. He got a taste of the victory the other week, and now he played again this week against Colorado, and he got another win. The kid is starting to play good, and Frank Sigiano is starting to turn around and look and going, I think I'm going to get used to this spot on the bench here. Because now, Del Bianco is really starting to play well, only allowing 9 goals on 60 shots. He faced 60 shots and only let up 9 goals. So this kid is playing phenomenal. And here's the thing, Colorado went 4 for 4 in the power play. So almost half of their goals were on the man advantage, which tells me that they're struggling scoring even up. Scoring 5-on-5.
And halfway through that game, I'm looking at Del Bianco and I'm thinking, he reminds me of somebody. I'm going to ask you, who does he remind you of? Not the way he's playing right now, not the whole scheme, but the way he's playing now, the way he's feeling it. Who does he remind you of?
Oh, God, I mean, I could...
this is probably a stretch, but because of the way he can outlet the ball and as athletic as he is, he reminds me of Dallas Elliott right now. Not the whole scheme.
Not the whole thing, no.
There's 2 games.
When he started,
Elliott, he makes these saves and you're scratching your head a minute later. How did he do that?
Yeah.
And he's doing that now. I'm probably going to extremes. I'm exaggerating, but and Calgary. And I find it funny because they're like the minor, like every year they come out of nowhere. They catch fire, and it's funny because you got a guy named Superman on that team, and they're almost like a superhero. Like, how did you win this game? How did you do that? It's again exaggeration. It's a alliteration thing that okay, I can see that point, but Calgary right now to me is the West Division's Buffalo. They're scary right now. Del Bianco is getting more. He's a young kid. He's learning that league. He's getting better every week. And the key component to the whole thing with him, his confidence. You can just see as the game went on, he was standing taller at the end of the game. You could see it. He's starting to get a little bit of a swagger. Now, of course, that can get boiling out the next game, but he's feeling it right now. Yeah. And you know how the young kids are. They get hot, and they build off of that. And, he's got Dobie, and he's got Dixon, he's got the experienced pros in front of him, talking. They're in his head. Kid, you're doing good, kid, you're doing good. But, and I don't know how much of a difference that's making, but it seems that Calgary team, to me, is a scary team. I can see them getting second place.
Yeah, well, right now...
Colorado just looks like they can't score.
No.
They just... I don't know why. They have the weapons. They look bad. They look really bad.
Well, Calgary's only a game and a half behind Colorado for that second spot. That's why that was a very big game for Calgary to win that. Calgary right now is sitting at 3-5. Colorado's at 4-3. So it's only a game and a half. Now, Colorado has a game in hand, so let's just say, should they win that game, you're looking at a 2-game lead. But these two teams are still going to be playing each other further down the line. But yes, right now, Calgary is starting to distance themselves from Vancouver. They have a 2.5 game lead over Vancouver plus a game in hand. So that could be a 3-game lead. And you're looking at the season being halfway over. So if you're trailing by 3 games for the final playoff spot, and you got 9 games to go, you got a lot of road to make up there.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Not only you have to win out, you need a lot of help.
Right, and that's why I was saying...
Generally, yeah, rule of thumb. If you're behind a team who's in front of you, that team in front of you is better, so therefore they're going to beat teams. They're going to win. They're not going to roll over and just, they're not going to lose out as a rule. I mean, unless you're like 4th and 5th place type thing. But that's not going to happen. I mean, they got a long way to go.
Yeah, and here's the thing.
In a short period of time.
Yeah, and this is why I said earlier in our broadcast that Saskatchewan basically has first place locked up in the West, okay? They have already played 6 out of their 9 games on the road, okay? They've already played 66% of their road games. They only got 3 more games on the road, Saskatchewan, and one of them is this weekend. They've only played 3 games at home. They still got to play 6 more games at the Saskatchewan Center. So that's going to be, it's a hard place to win for the opponents. So, and they're already tearing it up on the road. So, I mean, it's going to be scary, but Calgary comes...
And one of the losses was at home. So,
yeah,
and their road travel schedule is, like I said, it's just about done, and it's brutal. There's nobody really close to them.
No.
You know, everything is, and every week we're reading a horror story about they're getting in late, and how close is teams. But most of that's behind them now.
Yeah, but Calgary comes out. They do what they had to do. They put a little distance between them and Vancouver because in the next game that we talk about, Saskatchewan beat Vancouver 16-9. They opened up with a 6-0 lead in the first quarter. It was 11-3 at the half, and I don't know. This was just a game that, you know, Saskatchewan is just in a different class altogether. Curtis Knight, 4 goals. Robert Church, 3 goals, 5 assists. Another consistent game. And he's second in the league in points. Robert Church.
I just want to jump in. You mentioned that last week, and I'm looking at it. The MVP race, you have to include him.
Oh, definitely.
He's just been, every game is 3-5, 2-4. So he's just every game. And he's the most nondescript guy. He's not one of these guys who's pounding his chest saying, "Well, look at me."
No.
He just gets it done. He gets goal. He high fives. He walks off, and that's what the guy. He's got to have consideration.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is better than him right now.
I mean, Dave Smith is right there, but consistent-wise, it's just Church. I mean, the way he's playing. Mark Matthews, 2 goals. Ryan Keenan, 4 assists. Jeff Shatler, goal and 3 assists. Ben McIntosh, 3 and 1. So all balanced all the way through that whole entire lineup. Vancouver, Reese Dutch, 0 goals, 0 assists, and only 4 shots. That's all that he had.
What happened to Reese Dutch?
I don't know. I mean,
that's $1 million question. I think if anybody had that answer, we're certainly not going to discuss it. We're going to, we have that answer.
Yeah.
But he's just been less than Dutchess all year.
Yeah, I mean, Logan Shush is the only multiple goal scorer on that team in this game. He had 2 goals. Everybody else had a goal. Shooter had a goal. Brandon Cleveland had a goal. Anthony Malcolm with a goal. Justin Ray with a goal. Pat Saunders, a goal and 3 assists. And then you got Rowe with a goal and Cliff Smith with a goal. That's it.
Yeah, nothing.
I mean, nothing from Dutch. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if he has any kind of a nagging injury or.
Yeah.
or what's going on, but he only had 4 shots on goal.
Yeah, 4. I mean, some guys get that in a half a period.
Yeah.
And that's, and he's, you don't have a team that only has 3 legitimate threats. And one of them's got 4 shots on goal in the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a train wreck there.
Yeah.
Now, just while we're here, I'm going to ask you, way back when in the off season, Saskatchewan made some moves. Derek Keenan, who to me is a genius, but he trades Aaron Bold to New England, and he brings in Jeff Shatler. Are they not the 2 best moves of the off season?
Right now, I would say yes. And when Bold, Well, here's the thing. When Bold was with Saskatchewan, and between the pipes, it was the defense that kept everything going, and it's the same thing going here now. Now, granted, I'm not taking a damn thing away from Evan Kirk. Okay, he's played phenomenal, but it's also the defense that's in front of you. Okay, you have to look.
That's a quality point well taken. Yes, I agree.
But,
it is a defense,
he still has to stop those shots. He's still facing the shots, and he's stopping them. So,
But here's the other thing, Rock. There's a difference between shots and quality shots. I don't think he's facing the quality shot. The guys that right on the edge of the crease. They're there, certainly they're there, but not to the extent of most teams have, because the rushes keep you to the outside.
They keep you to the outside, right?
The save, and then we'll go with it.
Yeah,
that's a testament to Keenan and his defense. I mean, that's.
Yeah, they keep it to the outside, and they let the goalie see the shot completely. That's the key. You want to play strong defense.
If he can see it,
he's going to stop it. If there's any part of a screen, it's going to be difficult to pick that ball up. If you could see the ball 100% coming at you, it's going to be a lot easier to stop it. So yeah, right now that move that Keenan has made, perfect. I mean, you wonder if Calgary is scratching their head saying, "Why did we let Shatler sign as a free agent?"
Yeah, why did we let Shatler go to the team we need to beat? And
right.
That league don't have that string because there's so much behind the scenes. It's not, and we discuss this. It's not like the other leagues where there's work commitments, and that's something we'll get to in a minute. Where players who move because they get family moved, and Aaron Bold thing where I personally thought, wow, that's a bad move because he's not going to be able to get to New England, a 12-hour travel day to play, but he's been there.
Yeah.
Because, he lives and works in Edmonton, but they worked it out somehow. Maybe they, whatever was worked out was worked out. That's why their GMs are what they are.
Yeah, and I mean...
sit back, we're armchair quarterbacks, so to speak, say, I would have made that move. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the trade. I like the idea of Bold coming to New England. I always thought he's a lot better of a goaltender than Evan Kirk. But like I said, not taking anything away from Evan Kirk.
Yeah.
He's been playing phenomenal, and sometimes the New England defense needs to tighten up a little bit and keep things to the outside, like Saskatchewan does. But yeah, right now Derek Keenan is looking like the mad genius. Right now,
Derek Keenan, to me, he's the he's the National Lacrosse League equivalent of Keith Allen. He just, you deal with him, you're going to get ripped off, but you're going to get somebody for him. And that's just how the Flyers built their whole thing. He's just, I guess I call him a genius because he rarely ever makes a bad move.
Yeah, and the attendance at over 4,000 people, which is great. And here, I'm going to make a joke about this. It has here the game length was 14 minutes and 3 seconds. And to be honest with you, after 10 minutes and 8 seconds, it was already 6-0. So maybe they're not too far off for his.
Yeah. So we can, getting smart. Let's go to the bar.
Pretty good, yeah.
That's all I think.
But yeah, 16-9.
I think you may have seen what we had put up. We had talked with Denise Watkins, and Langley Event Center is part owner of that team, and she's guaranteed a certain amount of tickets every night, just because they own the whole. Her and them, they own the building, so it's a sweetheart deal she's got. So I'm not saying a sweetheart deal. She's not making a ton of money, but she's not losing money either.
No.
So I only get 3,000, 4,000, doesn't matter. She's got maybe a Kenny Chesney concert that has 8,000. She got a cut of that. So that's that type of thing.
Yeah, but Saskatchewan wins 16-9. It moves them to 8-1 in the season, the best record overall in the league. It drops Vancouver to 1-8, the worst record in the league right now. They're 7 games out of first place and 2.5 out of a final playoff spot, and they only have 9 games to go in the season here. So if Vancouver wants to have any chance of the playoffs, something has to get going right away. They're in desperation mode right now. Colorado is in desperation mode to hold on to the second seed in the West. Saskatchewan is basically on cruise control right now. And I like to say Calgary's playing with house money right now, because if they just play the way they are the rest of the year, they're definitely going to get third, and they may even move up into second. So
let me ask you this on Vancouver, because I don't have my numbers in front of me. Vancouver has played Saskatchewan, 4 times now? Are they done with that? I mean, I think they played them 4 times. They lost 3.
Let me see. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I don't have my stuff in front of me right now.
Vancouver, Saskatchewan you're talking about, right? Vancouver and Saskatchewan?
Yes. Yes, I know they beat them once.
Well, let's see. They played them... No, they only played them twice so far.
Oh, twice? I thought they beat them, and then they played a back-to-back last week and the week before. I thought it was 3. But, okay, no. You have the numbers.
They lost to Saskatchewan 11-9 on February 3rd, and then 16-9 this past week. The next time they play each other is March 3rd in Saskatchewan, and then April 13th in Vancouver. So they still have to play each other 2 more times. Vancouver has Calgary 1, 2, 3 more times they play Calgary starting this weekend. So Vancouver needs to make some headway. They played them 3 times yet. So something can,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't have my book with me. I thought they had played 3 or 4 times. But okay, no, I mean, you got it. That's good. No big deal.
Yeah.
So 16-9 I thought maybe they were done with Saskatchewan.
No.
Well, you went 3 losses against Sammy. That makes you want 4, but never mind.
No, they still have 2 more. Now, the last game of the week, this was the one that I said I have a funny feeling they would end up winning this game. And Rochester beats Georgia. It was a football game, 17-10. This was complete Rochester domination. Okay, they only had two penalty minutes. Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia had 11 penalty minutes. So Georgia had 4 penalties. Rochester just had the 1. Rochester went 4 for 4 in the power play. They outshot them 60-48. They out the faceoffs 19-12 and the loose balls 68-51. And we were looking at a 7-4 lead at the half, and then a 10-6 game going into the final quarter. And then Rochester just blew the doors open. And, I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing, but again, look at Georgia's breakdown. Miles and Lyle Thompson combined for 3 goals and 2 assists together.
And both were like at the end of the by the way goals at the end of the game. One was Jerome, the second one was game was out of hand.
Out of hand, right?
Scored with like a minute left or something.
Yeah, The game was already 13-7 when Lyle Thompson finally scored. Yeah, when he scored his second goal. So, but 3 goals and 2 assists combined for them. Jesse King with a goal and 2 assists. The other Thompson 2 and 3. Zed Williams with a goal and an assist. Kyle Matisse with a goal. Randy Stotts with a goal. Again, Shane Jackson, 0 goals. You look over at Rochester. Austin Shanks, Joe Resetaris, both with a goal, but Shanks had 6 assists, Resetaris had 7 assists. Vitarelli, 2 and 3. Kyle Jackson woke up finally. 4 goals, 1 assist. Eric Fennell, 2 goals. Phenomenal play by a rookie with 12 shots on net. Quinn Palace had 2 goals in this game. And Cody Jamieson, playing like the old jammer, 4 goals.
Yeah, welcome back, Cody.
4 goals, 2 assists. This could have been the game that woke him up. And this is a game that Rochester severely, and I mean severely, needed. Not just because if they lost this game, it would have been a 7-game losing streak. But they come out and they win this game after losing 12-9 the night before. They play on a Sunday down in Georgia and they win 17-10. Now they get to come home and in front of their home crowd, they have to play the 8-1 Saskatchewan Rush. This was a game.
Good luck there.
Well, this was a game that Rochester needed. Okay, they showed it, and they proved to themselves that they can put up 17 goals. Okay, granted, Mike Poulin played 33 minutes. Hill played the other 26 minutes. But Mike Poulin's no slouch. Okay, this Rochester team put up 17 goals without Dan Dawson in the lineup.
I was going to get to that point that Dan Dawson didn't play. He put up 17.
Right.
So Rochester. Let me get this right. Let me get these numbers.
But not only that, Resetaris only had 1 goal.
Georgia in the weekend allowed 35 goals.
Yeah.
And their downfall this year, after the halfway point of the season, you know how many power play goals they have? 8. They had 55 all last year. They had 8 power play goals this season. And I think if you check the numbers, the power plays, I believe Rochester was 4 goals on 3 power plays because that was a coincidental minor. There was a 5-minute major handed out, and they scored 2 goals on that. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they got 4 goals on 3 power plays.
Well, it counts. Here's the thing. Once you score on a 5-minute major, you can score a maximum of 2 goals.
Yes.
So that will count as 2 power plays if you score 2 goals.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was,
No, it'll count as 2 power plays. If you only score 1 goal, it counts as 1 power play goal. It means you go 1 for 1. If you don't score, you're 0 for 1 on the power play. So,
okay, thank you for that correction. Because I looked at that like that seems weird, but a 5-minute penalty.
The max you can get is 2 goals. So
the way you explained that.
That's how it goes down. But so it's they went ahead and did that, and like I said, they showed that they could put 17 up on a team. Now by doing that. Rochester is still in the basement of the East, but they're only 3 games out of first place. They're 3-6. Georgia's at 3-5. So it's only a half a game difference between those 2 teams. And on March 10th, they meet in Rochester. So I'm looking forward to seeing that game. That's going to be interesting because I'm going to be at that game.
Yeah, it's not the one you're going to.
Yes.
But that's going to be a great game. A half a game lead, but
right now, yeah.
They got the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically, we can,
But I mean, being only 3 games out.
Have fun with Matt all night. But,
yeah.
But I think more importantly, Rochester. Not only did they send a message to the league, look, we're not done, but I think they sent a message to themselves. Look, we just beat the best team in the league. We started out 2-0. Jake Withers was unbelievable on faceoffs. I think he was 16 for 24, something like that. I was on that earlier on the year. That is huge because that'll stop a team from going on a 6 or 7 goal run because you got the ball back. And face-offs, Rochester, that's like the only stat that Rochester really dominated was face-offs.
Yeah.
That's a key stat to dominate on.
Yeah, Jake Withers was 18 for 28 on the face-offs.
18 for 28, so not quite as good as I painted, but I knew he was good. I mean, 18 to 28, though. 18 to 10, but still.
Yeah, it's still 63%. It's there.
And I know all the rookie face-off guys, and I believe all the face-off guys in the league, he's leading everybody.
He's right there. But now
he's right there, and he's helping out. He's throwing a goal here and goal there. But that face-off thing, that's a very key, especially getting into the playoffs. I mean, that's key because you can stop the teams in Georgia from going on a 3 or 4 goal run if you got the ball. Get the ball, and what you do with it is a whole different thing. But
yeah, well now here's the thing. Like I said, they're only 3 games out of first place and only 2 games out of a playoff spot. So, with 9 games left in the season, Rochester's sitting comfortably. They have, they could easily, move up and, gain some ground and get into a playoff spot. Especially, with the way he played.
And we mentioned last week, you brought it up, and I agree with it, that if Rochester loses both games this week, Mike Kaysen may be cleaning out his locker. But now, it's a different story, because, not only did we win one up to 2, we probably should have won 2, but we sent a message on Sunday. So, let's see what happens, what they do with this.
Yeah, well now we got...
It's been up and down all year. Every week there's a different star, there's a different team that blows the doors off. Toronto had their run, Rochester had their runs, Saskatchewan's in their runs. But every week it's somebody different.
It's somebody different. Well, now we got 4 big games this weekend. Okay, and we got to we're going to go through them quick. The first game is the Twitter game of the week. It's Vancouver at Calgary. Basically, in this one, I don't know. Vancouver hasn't shown me anything. I see Calgary winning this game, putting a little more distance between them and Vancouver. And Calgary's starting to sniff second place here. Yeah, they're seeing it. They see it's in reach. I see Del Bianco again in between the pipes here, and I see him having one hell of a game against Vancouver. And this will be in Calgary, this game.
Yeah, I have to agree. Del Bianco, we mentioned it earlier, he's feeling it. He's a young kid, and he's getting better every game. His confidence level has got to be top-notch right now. He's at home in front of a screaming crowd against the Vancouver team. Which I think they're going to change. Vancouver said they're going to change their logo to a question mark because you never know what team is going to show up.
Show up, yeah.
And I just don't see. I'm holding out hope that Vancouver can turn it around, but I don't see it happening at this game.
No, I don't see it either.
Calgary, like I said, they're hungry. They know Colorado is right for the taking, and you're running a hot goalie in there. When you get a hot goalie and you get confidence that your goal, I think that's the big thing with Calgary. They haven't had confidence in the goalie in a year or so.
Yeah.
Now they have the confidence, and a step quicker. I think Calgary wins this comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see Vancouver win this game. I really would, to kind of make things a little interesting in the West. But
Yeah.
I just see Calgary. They're smelling it right now. And like I said, they're only a game and a half behind Colorado, and a win will bring them even closer, because Colorado plays this weekend too, and I think it's going to bring them even closer.
Yes,
the
I
next
agree.
game,
We'll get to that one when you're ready. But
yeah,
I agree.
Now that game is at 9:00 Eastern. It's the Twitter game of the week. Vancouver at Calgary. Then on Saturday, starting at 7:00, the Toronto Rock travel down to Georgia. According to Gary, Tom Schreiber will not be playing in this game.
According to, that's been verified by 3 sources, Tom Schreiber is out 6 to 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, Gary had that first, and I got it verified today, and it all confirmed 6 to 8 weeks. I believe it's an ACL. It's one of these CLs. I don't know if it's ACL, MCL, but he's out 6 to 8 weeks. That's basically the season for him.
Well, if it's an ACL, if it's a sprain, I could see that. If it's a tear, he won't be back from that ACL. 6 to 8 weeks.
When the team in the league is telling you 6 to 8 weeks, that's not good.
No, 6 to 8 weeks brings you to the end of the regular season, basically. But you know what? With Toronto's depth out there, I still, and the way Georgia's played last 2 games, I still see Toronto winning this game. Toronto's going to roll through Georgia, and just win this game. And this is the game that they have in hand, because Buffalo is off this week. So a win by Toronto will even their record at 6-3 with Buffalo. So it'll give them a 2-way tie for first place here. Okay? And things can really get interesting in the East, as you see with the other games that are going to be played. But there's really, I don't think, any discussion, to be honest with you. I just think Toronto is a lot stronger of a team, especially with the way Georgia's played the last few games. I just see Toronto winning this handily.
I agree. I mean, you have the alleged, well, not the alleged, but the proven Georgia scoring, which we haven't seen all year. But then you got Toronto. You got Hickey, Hilliard, Jones, and Reed Reinhold. Now Dan Littner is going to play.
Right.
In place of Schreiber. It's still, to me, I'll take them over Georgia right now. Poulin hasn't been playing now. He's still a great goalie, but he hasn't been stealing games. He hasn't had to with that team, but now he has to.
Yeah,
I don't see it. I think, are we saying last week, is there an indication are we seeing the Poulin at the end of his Calgary days, or, is it just an indictment of Georgia? I think Georgia's just, they're going through the motions. I think I think it's a cakewalk. We're going to get in the playoffs and do this again.
Right.
It's not going to happen. I think they're going to spank this week. I really think that. I mean, they got really embarrassed last week, but this is going to be a physical game. And I think I look at Nick Rose as being the difference. He's going to make some big early saves, keep Toronto in the game when Georgia's coming out fighting, and then I think Adam Jones is going to take it over. They just have too many weapons. For this game. I think Toronto wins this. I'm sure it's going to be a blowout, but they're going to win this game.
Yeah, Toronto's going to control this game from beginning to end. You might even see Brandon Miller in this game, too. The next game on Saturday, Saskatchewan at Rochester. Yes, Rochester put up 17 against Georgia last week, but that's Georgia. This is Saskatchewan. Now, I'm not saying Saskatchewan's going to blow them out, but when you look at the numbers, okay, Rochester has scored 115, allowed 106. Saskatchewan has scored 139 goals. Okay, that's tops in the league by 11 over Buffalo, and they've allowed 97. That's only 9 less than Rochester. So that's not a whole heck of a lot, because Colorado, who's played 2 less games, has led up 82 goals. So Colorado has 2 more games to to go to see what they would let up. But 97 to 106, that's only a 9-goal difference in the goals that you let up. But
not a whole lot.
No, but you're looking at a plus 42 for Saskatchewan compared to a plus 9 for Rochester in the goals for and goals against differential here. As much as I think that Rochester could win this game, being at home and getting that 17-goal boost last week, I don't see it. I see Saskatchewan winning this game. It's not going to be a blowout, though. I think this game, I'm going to go out on a limb. This game is going to remind me of the 2012 championship game. How much of a nail-biter it was. Okay, it may not be where Saskatchewan takes the lead in the first half and Rochester has to battle back. This game will be a battle, I feel. Rochester has that little bit of momentum. They're at home. They always seem to play up to their competition. And you can't get any more stronger than the Saskatchewan Rush right now. This is going to be a close game, but I see Saskatchewan winning this by 2 or 3 goals.
I agree. I think this game is going to be one of those games you put it on. We're digging our age this year, but this is one of them games you put on VHS and you put it away because it's going to be that good. You're going to look at it later. I think it's just going to be a classic game. Saskatchewan I think the championship muscles will get flexed late when it's needed. I agree with you. It's going to be close. It's just going to be a battle from beginning to end. But Saskatchewan, I see them 2-3 goal victories. But it's not, it's not going to be like a 2 or 3 blowout. It's going to be, it's going to be one of them games. Whoever had the ball last is going to win, and it's made up empty net.
Yeah, and who knows? And you know what?
It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, and it really wouldn't surprise me if Rochester wins this game.
I agree.
It could go that way.
No, I wouldn't wake up and say, "Oh my God, Rochester won that." No, I said, "Okay, well, I just find it hard to go against Saskatchewan
right now." Yeah, I just they're 6-0 on the road.
I think the variable on this one, Rocco, is Dan Dawson.
Yeah.
Is he available?
I believe he is. I don't
know.
I believe he will be available for this game. But I just think Saskatchewan just has a little bit stronger depth than Rochester does in this one. Now.
Yeah, you got Church. This is a game Robert Church is going to catch everybody's attention. I think he's going to have a 10-point game.
Yeah, I don't know about a 10-point game, but
maybe that's high. Okay, well, we'll go 8. He's going to have an 8-point game.
Yeah, I'd say he's going to have an 8-point game, and it's going to be a strong 8 on that. Now that game's at 7:30 on Saturday. So we have one game on Friday at 9 Eastern Time. That's the Twitter game of the week, Vancouver, Calgary. Then on Saturday, there's only 2 games. 7:05 Eastern, Toronto at Georgia. And then 7:30, Saskatchewan at Rochester. Now, we go to Sunday. And this is where I said Calgary is going to be a lot closer than people think to second place. You got Colorado traveling to New England. I'm going New England in this game. New England needs this game. They're playing at home in front of their crowd. It's a 2 o'clock in the afternoon game. New England wins this game, they're only a half a game out of first place. So you'd have Buffalo and Toronto tied at 6-3. Then New England would be at 5-3. Okay, we're showing Georgia would lose, so it would move them to 3-6, and Rochester would be at 3-7 by our picks here. So kind of put a little space there, and it would separate the top 3 teams only by a half a game. And a Colorado loss with a Calgary win would bring Calgary within a half game of second place. So it would really make things a bit interesting for the second half of the NLL season. So I just think, in this game, Ryan Benesh is going to get his goals. But they don't have Zach Greer in the lineup. He's still out. New England's going to have Crowley. They're going to have Evans. The Buchanans have to do something. Okay? Kyle and Kevin Buchanan have to do something. They got to get more than just one goal in the net. Stefan LeBlanc, same thing. Because Colorado can put the ball in the net. Yes, those 6 assists are nice to see. 1 goal, 6 assists. But I like to see 3 goals, 4 assists. Okay, I like to see a couple more goals out of LeBlanc for New England to help Crowley out on that left side, to strengthen that left side goal scoring. Because if teams know that LeBlanc could just get the 1 goal, they're going to say, fine, we'll double team Crowley and let LeBlanc try to beat us. So this is a game where I think LeBlanc should be able to jump out and do something here. You got to go up against Dylan Ward. It's going to be a hell of a contest. Dylan Ward on one side, Aaron Bold on the other. So it should be quite interesting, especially with the speed of Joey Caputo.
Yeah, I agree with the goaltending is going to be fun to watch, and I also agree that Stefan LeBlanc, I think this might be his coming out party. I think you're going to get like a 2 and 3 game plan. He's got to start contributing. As big as he is and as strong as he is, he's got to stop passing the ball and start going to the net. This is a perfect team to do it against. The thing with Capito, he can beat just with his speed. He's going to get that ball. Very few players in the league can chase him down.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's going to put it in the net, we don't know. But I think I agree. It's a game of the week. This is going to be a playoff type game. It's going to be a battle. And depending upon the outcome of the Calgary game on Saturday, Colorado is going to be the desperate team. And I agree with you. New England does not want to lose this game because they can tighten everything up. I think the only thing hurt New England is I think they thought that they were going to cakewalk and get second place. I don't know if that's the case. That's my thought. I just don't think they played to their potential. This could be the game. And both teams played to their potential. It's going to be Ward and Kirk. Ward and Bold. And transition game is going to be a big deal, but I think, like you said, LeBlanc is going to be the guy. I'm not sure if he's going to score 3 or 4 goals, but I think he's going to generate a lot of offense. He's going to draw a double team because I think he's going to be everywhere on the floor, and because of his size and speed, you're going to have to double him to try and eliminate his passes, which would not be smart. But I agree with you. I think New England wins this one because they're just due to win. They're at home. They got that loud crowd. Not going to be a blowout.
No, it's going to be close.
2-goal game.
But here's the thing also. These two franchises go way back.
Yes.
This is the old Washington Power, Baltimore Thunder franchise against the old Philadelphia Wings franchise. These are two of the oldest, at the time, oldest franchise. When Philly moved to New England and Washington moved out to Colorado. They're part of the original 4. So when these two teams get together, it's going to be a nail biter right there. But I'm going in this one. I'm going New England as well. I think Gary was going Colorado on it, so I think that's the only game we're differing on.
He was going Colorado.
This week.
I have some of our stuff. He's going Colorado with this. And, I said going into this is going to be the game where we're going to split. We got 6 minutes to pick, so we're going to go 3-3 on this one. I can guarantee it. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, when you look at the standings, Buffalo's at 6-3, Toronto 5-3, New England 4-3, and we talk about Toronto winning and New England winning. That'll pull Toronto into a tie, and it'll bring New England within a half game of first.
Georgia, and then Rochester pulling up at fourth place and fifth place there. Saskatchewan is at 8-1 right now. Colorado's at 4-3. Calgary's 3-5, and then Vancouver at 1-8. And Kevin, we talked about Calgary winning. That would put them to 4-5, and a Colorado loss would put them at 4-4. And not only would it put them at 4-4 and only a half a game in front of Calgary, but it also brings them further away from Saskatchewan if they had any dream of first place. So things are really starting.
That's basically actually correct. There's no shot.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think. But
Colorado's got to watch out.
Yeah, we were also the same. I was one of the people saying, this Saskatchewan team can go undefeated. Well, that didn't work out either, but they're still the best team in the league.
Oh, yeah, by a long shot.
And let me throw this out there. If we had said back in December that halfway through the season, Georgia would be out of the playoffs and Buffalo would be in first place, would they have not come and locked us up?
I don't know. I have to honestly say I don't know, because I knew with them getting Alex Bouquet as their goaltender, I knew it made them stronger. It really made them stronger. Even though Anthony Cosmo is a Hall of Fame goaltender. Okay, we all know his history. Sometimes he kind of loses his edge out there. I just think that Alex Bouquet was going to bring a little bit more to the table, for Buffalo, and they were going to be right there in the thick of things.
Okay, and you and I are and probably Gary also. We watch, and I get some of the Colorado people who like with us, who they just don't like Bouquet. He's not that good. He's not that good. I said, no, you know the Bouquet who played in Colorado. You had to watch him last year in the Canadian League in WLA.
Yeah.
The kid was absolutely lights out.
Yeah.
He is a good addition. Buffalo stole him. And I think, he sucks. What, he ain't doing anything. Well, let's see what happens at the end of the year. I really do believe in that kid. Yeah, he may still be learning because he's never started in the NL. So I'm on page with you on this.
Well, here's the thing.
I think he's definitely an upgrade. They had nobody else.
No,
go ahead.
Here's the thing. Because I want to try to wrap the show up.
Yeah. Okay.
You look at, Bouquet was sitting behind Dylan Ward. Okay, after the summer that he had, you knew you had to move him somehow, because now, Adam Jones went from Saskatchewan to Toronto, but they picked up Ryan Benesh in the trade, which tells you something about Zach Greer. So maybe they thought something was going on. Can you still hear me? Okay. Yeah. No. The beeping that was going. The beeping that was going was my phone. So.
Okay.
It's the battery is starting to go, so we have to wrap things up quickly.
Okay, go ahead.
But that's what we have for this week. The show went a little longer than usual. Hey, so be it. But we have 4 big games this weekend. Vancouver at Calgary, the Twitter game of the week Friday. Toronto at Georgia at 7 o'clock on Saturday, 7:05. Then Saskatchewan at Rochester at 7:30. And then on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Colorado at Vancouver. So we have games every night of the week, or every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every night. So watch the games, get into it. Kevin, I will see you on Saturday at the Drexel.
Yes, looking forward to
Virginia game. So that should be fun. We get to see some college action going on, and everybody, listen to the podcast, spread the word out there. We'll be back again next week. another show, recap the 4 games, see where everybody stands. There's another set of games coming up that are going to be just as exciting as this one. And as for us, for myself and Kevin, every week that goes by brings us another week closer to having our Philadelphia Wings out on the floor again as we draw closer and closer to the expansion draft, the regular draft, and then the start of the following season. So, yes, we're pushing ahead, but, excuse us for being excited. We're finally getting our team back. So,
always look ahead, never look behind.
Right. So, for Kevin Neibauer at LaxPhilly.com, for Gary Grube at LaxPhilly, who is out in the Philippines in the morning right now, I'm Rocco Granado from InLacrosseWeTrust.com. We thank you for joining us from at Behind the Bench. We'll see everybody here again next week.